Welcome to another episode of The Elegant Life. My name is Erin Kurt, and I am a spiritual teacher and energy healer who assists women from all over the world in how to live and manifest an exquisite, elegant life for themselves. So welcome to another episode. Today we've brought on another woman who has taken an interest or a nudge and created it with what you'll find no real expectation, and just has learned to let it flow and expand in its own way. And so I think this was a very important interview for me to do. I know all of you have really enjoyed the interviews that I've been doing with ladies. And I wanted to bring on and welcome to you Christine from Sensual Seed. Hi, you're from Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
And let me just get you to describe the beginning of, well, first of all, let's say what you did create. You created an oracle deck of cards, basically.
That's right. Yeah.
And just describe how that whole nudge and experience of why you even created it and how it came, so that women can see how they too could maybe do something like this.
The creation came from a wound, so it was a tool to actually heal me. I didn't know I was going to create the deck. It was just a process of over about a year. These words that I really needed to hear and have in my presence, I just needed them. And it became like medicine for me. So I thought if these have helped me, maybe, it could help some other women. And I had this spark that said, because I knew on my journey, Oracle cards had helped me. And I thought, wow, what if I created a deck? If that even helped one woman, that's a success. So it kind of went from there. I didn't know how it was going to all come together, but the right people, drop in on the path and it feels right. And so I just kept following it. It was just the creative process. I didn't have any idea that then I was going to have to do the whole other side of that to share it. But so yeah, that's a bit of a backstory there.
You were going through a difficult time and did you have these words just drop into you, or you said you were using Oracle cards before that helped you? And
there were words that spoke to like probably that feminine part of me, that it was just like, well, what's that? And that's where the healing started. So the words, open, receptive, those kind of things, I really needed to connect with that. That really opened my heart and to really love and accept myself. And I thought, well, I'll create something. I haven't seen anything out there like that. It was a bit of a creative process.
I like how you listened to it. And I think that's a very feminine trait of, wow, when something helps you, you just have a natural instinct to want to share, to help others. This is very feminine, isn't it? And so if anybody's watching who doesn't really know what Oracle cards are, can you describe what they are and how to use them?
It's just a tool to help you connect in with your truth, with what's true for you. You can read something and it sort of goes in, and deep down that is true, but it's just like, that's the soul truth, and you don't know that's the missing piece, that connection to that soul truth, and it's always there. It's we just uncover it through these tools like Oracle cards, and so it's just pulling a card or just going through the deck and just finding a word that jumps out, and it's just like, well, that's what I need today, or that's what maybe it's triggering me. I need to work on that, or to embody that somehow, that I'm not. Yeah, so it's just back to that return to love, that reconnection.
That's what I really see it as. It's not tarot cards, which is more like trying to find out what's going to happen in the future, but it's more of a personal tool. And what I'm always talking about in the Elegant Art of Feminine Confidence program that I'm doing is when you close your eyes and you come in, and that's where all that truth is, right? Yeah. And so if you have a spiritual practice, or you're going through something like you said, it can be very beautiful to close your eyes, tune in, set an intention that I'd love to hear something that would support me in moving through this or moving past this, and then just allowing the energy to guide you through the oracle deck. Pick it out, and then journal about it, think about it, feel
Yeah.
into it, meditate.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's a personal conversation about what you need and where you are in your journey right now. I really love that.
Yeah,
Not to mention that your cards are very beautiful. Do you have any there that you'd like to show?
I do. Well, the card that I have for today for us is, it's, I don't know if you can see that, open. Yeah, they're just like my little companion. They're always there. That's the deck. So yeah, it's just a gift for women to honor themselves and their truth.
Oh, I like how you put that. Now we know what it is. We know how to use it. We know where it came from. Now comes the next part where you get excited about something and you feel this nudge to share it. That is what can trip some women up. Let's talk about some of the obstacles that came into your path, because anytime we're creating something, it's an opportunity for us to grow and expand as well. And so if obstacles seemingly come into your path, we can see, we can choose to see it from a perspective of, oh, maybe this is a sign I'm not supposed to do it, or, I better stop because it's not safe. So talk about some of the obstacles that you came up upon and how you moved through them.
There was many. The first one, I guess was like, well, can I really do this? It was a decision, but it was also like, if I don't do it, I just had to trust and surrender. There was no time frame, so like there was no hurry. Once I had the words, it's like, okay, well, I want to do a guidebook for this deck, but I don't write. I don't like writing. Like, okay, I thought, well, okay, well, maybe this is a growth opportunity for me to write. And there was a lot of resistance. I started and I lost all the work. I lost it. And I hadn't got that far.
Lost it?
Yeah, lost it. Couldn't, and never found it again. So I thought,
wow.
Okay, maybe I'm not meant to be. Maybe I'm not the one to write this, because I know that's not my natural ability. So of course, somebody drops into my world who channeled the messages for the guidebook, and it was perfect. So it became a collaboration from that point. So once that obstacle was over, that was such a relief. And so I just had to trust it. I just put it out there, and this woman dropped in and just was a great fit at the time. Another obstacle was when I was getting the printing done, the first, nobody really knows this, but the first like print round, the actual deck, the actual cover was the wrong color. It was slightly the wrong shade. And it's like, my perfectionism streak was just like, well, that's not good enough. That means I'm not good enough. But nobody else would know about that. Only I knew that the color wasn't right. And then the obstacle of sharing it, I've got it. Then you've got to like promote it, which is so not my thing. That's a whole nother obstacle for me. And it still is today. So that's why I think the organic growth, it's just my flow. And I'm okay with that, because there's nothing to get. It's just get to the right people through the right channels and the right communities.
What I found is that every time you mentioned an obstacle, you mentioned something within yourself that actually needed to be healed. The perfectionism, the surrendering and letting go. Those are all such kind of, I would say, female wounds, the self-worth, the self-value, and then also in just becoming open, because that is our natural state as women, but has that been closed off? So it's a huge practice. So every time there was an obstacle, this is what I want to really tell women, that we can get so down on ourselves when an obstacle happens. Yet if we have the elegant perspective, what I'm always talking about is that, wow, thank you. This is here in front of me. This is a growth opportunity. It's not comfortable, but ladies, let me just tell you, growth is not comfortable. Because if it was, you wouldn't need to go through it, because you'd be so, there's things that used to bother me that I'm like, I can't even wrap my head around. Do you experience that too?
Yeah, you're in it, and it's just like, it's so uncomfortable. And again, it's just to stay open and surrender, just to allow the magic to drop in, and it does. Yeah.
It does. One of the things that I love that you've been saying is talking about the flow, because one of the attributes of feminine energy is that we we are so generous. We love to give. The difference between us and males is that we can have an intention, but we don't have to say, on this date at this time, I am going to have this outcome and I'm going to plan my steps. That works so well for men. It doesn't work for women, right? It just actually makes us more stressed, more constricted. So I love the fact that you're wanting to flow and your intention is to share this more with the world, and yet you're not attached to how that's going to happen. And then, out of the blue, people like me just
I
say,
know.
hey, I'd love to share your beautiful cards because your energy is so warm. That is an energy that is magnetic. And so I think that will pull everything towards you. And of course, there's probably still opportunities for growth and
Yeah, always.
exactly. So if anybody's listening to this and they've had a nudge or they've had an idea and they feel like they would love to share this with the world, maybe make some money from it, an energetic exchange. Doesn't always have to be that way. That's what I really want to share with women. You do not have to create something and say, ooh, it needs to make money. It doesn't. Only if you feel that you would like that. So, what is there any advice you'd give to women now that you've been through the journey of anything that was helpful or that would be helpful to them when they're starting their journey of wanting to create something?
I sense that if it's just lingering there and it's always in your awareness, you've got to trust and just act on that and just follow that. Just the next step. You don't need to look too far ahead, but just go. And if it feels good, just keep going. Just give yourself permission to give it a go. And there's nothing to lose. You don't want to live in regret about, what I should have tried or should have done. Just step into it, just gently.
I love that. Follow what feels good.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the best advice I ever say. Follow the joy. Follow the joy. Does this bring me joy? Go. It might bring up things of fear every once in a while, but on the end, if you didn't have the fear, would it bring joy? Okay, then keep following that. That's really, really good advice, and let it unfold. Have an intention for it, but let it unfold. Did you ever have, this is one question that I love to ask all women. Did you ever have a feeling of, who am I to create something like this?
All the time. Even like now, I'm like, who am I to be out there like that? That's not me, because I'm very introverted. So I struggle with a lot of the online stuff and presence. Yet I do know if I want women to receive the beauty and the gift of the cards that I need to be there, or else I'm doing a disservice. So yeah, if I could do it, anybody can do anything, really. It was just little old me. But we're all the same, we all have the same fears. And
so when you had that feeling, what made you keep going? Because that will stop a lot of people,
I just believed in the cards. I believed in the power and that it can touch hearts for when people are in that real tender spot. So it's like, I can't keep these to myself. They've got to be shared.
That inner purpose, that inner why, that needs to be it. And you're hearing men talk about this more now, I think because of a gentleman named Simon Sinek or something like that. Find your why. All the big companies that have ever been hugely successful are not focused on the money value of, the goal. It's the why, because that will keep you going through every tough time.
Yeah, it's always been about the meaning. It's never been about the money. The money, that's a bonus, but it's just how the meaning for myself, but for other women, for what they can receive from it.
That is probably one of the key things. When you have such a purpose of why, that will take you through someone saying, who are you to do this? That will take you through so many obstacles because you just don't care. It's not about you. It's about a nudge that came through you, and you have just, you can or you can't, but just get it out there and then release the expectations, and there you go. So where do you see all of this going? Do you have an intention for how many lives it will touch? Do you have kind of an exciting wish or desire?
I don't have a huge vision in that sense. You know, as I said, if it touched one woman, that's enough. But it has touched many more women, and it's in many they're in many countries now. So I know that that's enough. Even that's more than enough. But you know, it can even be more. The more that women share them, it gets into more communities. I can only do so much because it's depleting being out there and on all the time, and that's not feminine, and doesn't feel good to me to be in that space. So I've got to be careful how I share it as well. So yeah, it's a real just an organic process, really.
So you're really truly just allowing it to flow without any expectation.
Yeah. If I have an idea, it's probably like you. It's like then I'll follow it through and I'll act on it. But I can't force anything, or else it feels off.
I love that you're honoring to do it in your way.
And I have to keep telling myself that, because I see everybody doing all these big grand stuff, but that's just not me. So I just do it in my way. And I'm okay with that, and that is valuing myself and honoring myself, and that feels good.
You're another version of what can be, and I'm loving sharing this with everybody. So thank you so much. My last question for you is, what brings you the most joy from Sensual Seed Oracle Cards?
I get a lot of joy from actually packaging and sending the cards off to the women when they come in. I love pulling a card for women, whether it's online or in person. Yeah, I love that aspect, and just seeing women and when they get the card and it's just what they needed, and that just touches my heart.
This is actually important to say too. So this is not your main business. You actually are, what do you do during the day hours when you're not sending out Sensual Seed?
I am a hypnotherapist, and I'm specializing in helping people to quit smoking. And the cards are the other creative part. Yeah, so that's it's a nice combo.
It's beautiful. Well, if anybody out there resonates and wants to stop smoking, or wants to get this tool and use it as part of their daily spiritual practice, or just have it as one of their tools, that when they feel they just need a little bit of intuitive guidance, a little nudge themselves, perhaps, I will put the link to your website so that you can order. You send these internationally, correct? Yeah. So feel free to reach out and purchase those, ladies, because as you can see from Christine, they come from a very warm, feminine energy that can really, really support you. So thanks again, Christine. This is really beautiful today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah, I was so honored to be part of what you're sharing with the world. I love what you're doing. So I'm excited to follow along.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, on that note, make it an elegant day, and I will see you next time.